It's been a minute since I uploaded my latest video, and I just wanted to apologize for that because I just haven't had enough time to do it. I want to be so active on this channel, and I promise you all that I'm gonna bring all the ideas that I always have in my mind, so just bear with me, please. I just want to say thank you because I just reached 400 subscribers and over 1,700 followers on Instagram. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that has supported all the way. And so what we're gonna do today, we're going to talk about, I'm gonna wrap up what I watched in January. So as you know, and as I did in my previous video, I'm gonna talk about this series and the movies that I watched over the month of January. And we're gonna start with the series. But before we do that, just relax, sit back, grab a drink, bring a snack, and just welcome back to another video here on this channel, Royal Horror. Jungle of love. So talking about series that I watched over the month of January, we have Criminal Minds Season 2. And like I said before, I love a crime series. Even though this is not too horror, it has some horror elements because some episodes during this season were so dark. And this Criminal Minds is kind of a slasher because some episodes are like this. And I would really recommend this series. I think the first few seasons are very underrated. This series became like more popular with time, but I think the first trilogy or like the first 4 seasons are so underrated because they came out in an era where Grey's Anatomy was popular, and I love Grey's Anatomy. I've watched all the seasons and I cannot wait for the new one to come up. I'm obsessed with Grey's Anatomy, but it's not a secret that because both series came out in the same time, Grey's Anatomy became more popular, so Criminal Minds went like a little bit to the shade. Another season that I rewatched is Slasher Season 2 from 2017. Now, like I said before, I think this series is very underrated in like the horror community because I don't see many people talking about it. If you love slashers like me, if you love a good sexy scene, a good kill scene, a good death scene, you will love this series, especially Season 2. And this series proved that slashers are not always cheesy because you don't expect the plot twist coming at all. When it comes to the movies, I didn't watch too many movies, but that's good. And I've discovered so many good films that I really love. I discovered very unnecessary films that I'm not really gonna rewatch ever. And so let's talk about them. So the first category is half star and 1 star. And surprisingly, I didn't watch any half star this month. So let's give it applause because I didn't watch rubbish this month. But I did watch 1 star film, and I gave 1 star to Cinderella from 2021. Now I'm not gonna talk too much about this film because obviously it's a 1 star film for me, and it's not horror. The main reason why I gave this is because we have seen this storyline way too many times, and the songs are quite annoying. Obviously I respect the work behind this film, but the storyline, the dialogues, the characters and the acting makes this film not rewatchable at all. The next category is 1.5 stars and 2 stars. And I didn't watch any 1.5 stars. So let's go to the 2 stars. Now when it comes to 2 stars, the first film that I watched with 2 stars will be Fantasy Island from 2020. Now I, like my boyfriend says, watching Mothers. So the first time that I watched this film, I hated it. I included it in the worst horror films of 2020, and it's still in that list because I don't think this is a great film. However, I felt so entertained. I think it's a very entertaining film, and if you forget about the cheesiness, if you forget about the bad acting, the bad characters, the bad dialogue, you will enjoy this film. And it has way too many endings, way too many plots. This movie wants to be so complicated for no reason. The next 2 stars movie that I watched is Red Notice from 2021. Now, I love the main trio. I was really excited to watch this film, and I felt bored halfway through. And the acting was not the best, to be honest. I think Ryan Reynolds, even though he's a great actor, his comedy here was way too forced, so I didn't like it. Now, the next film that I watched from 2 stars will be Zombievers from 2014. Now, this film is extremely cheesy, it's extremely corny, it's extremely stupid, but the movie knows that. And that's why this movie is 2 stars and it's not half star. It's because this movie knows it's bad. This movie, the directors, the producers, they knew they were making a bad film and they decided to go with it. And also it's kind of like unique, if that makes sense, to be a comedy and horror. Going to the next category, which is 2 stars and a half and 3 stars, we have the first movie that is 2 stars and a half is Don't Look Up from 2021. Now, the first thing that I want to say is that the main reason why I watched this movie is because of Jennifer Lawrence, because she's my favorite actress of all time. I love her so much. I was really excited to see her back. And that's the main reason why I watched this movie. And also, I didn't care about the plot twist, but I did like the commentary, the social commentary, because it's not a secret that nowadays in 2022, 2021, when the movie was made, people just don't care about the war. Like, they do whatever they want. And also, I don't know if it was me, but the whole movement in the movie of Don't Look Up versus Look Up is the same movement that is happening right now with get a vaccine or not get a vaccine. So I really like that social commentary. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's just me, but I felt that. It's not a must watch, but if you watch it at least once in your life, you will be okay. The next 2 stars and a half that I watched is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake from 2010. Now, again, like my boyfriend says, rewatching matters, and I used to hate this movie growing up, and I also, like, I always hated it. But rewatching this, it made me realize that this movie is not too bad. This movie is actually great. Like, this movie, and I love the gore, the deaths are insane. I love how Freddy looks. Yes, unpopular opinion, I love how he looks. And just the storyline in general, I just love the cinematography. I think the opening scene looks beautiful. I think it's the camera work and the color palette, the post-production is beautiful. And I think this movie deserves kind of better. Like, it's not a bad remake. It's not a bad remake. And compared to the original, this is more rewatchable than the original. Yes, I know. I know.
Get the fuck out.
When it comes to the 3 stars film that I watched this month, I will add Bloodline from 2018. Now, this film is like, nobody's talking about this film, and I will understand why. I watched this movie when I came from Turkey, from my trip to Turkey, in the plane, and I really like this movie. Like, I think the gore is beautiful. Again, the color palette is insane. I think the villain is kind of underrated. The next 3 stars that I watched is The Vigil from 2021 or 2019, 2020. Like, this movie has so many dates in every single platform that I watch. I really like this film. I gave 3 stars just because, like, this concept has been made so many times, especially coming from an era from like The Insidious and The Conjuring, Sinister. Like, we've seen this concept way too many times, but I gave 3 stars because of the representation and because this movie is not in English, like the main language is not English, and I just love the representation for like their community. And obviously it's not my community, but I do love when movies decide to be like non-white or non-English, because I love a good representation and I really like that. I also love like the cinematography. Some camera work is insane, some shots are beautiful, even though sometimes it looks way too dark. Now, the next category is 3 stars and a half and 4 stars. Now, the first movie that I watched that is 3 stars and a half is Insidious 3. Now, my boyfriend and me, we did a marathon with Insidious movies, so you're gonna see the first 3 movies in this list. And the first one is Insidious 3, a 3 stars and a half movie. And this movie just is cute. I think this movie is not, obviously it's a horror film, but I feel this movie, it's such a cute movie for the franchise, for the fans. I love the audiography in this film. I think the sounds are so great. I love the main character. I think she did a great job. I love the whole Into the Further, and I love how this movie becomes a prequel to this franchise. And I love how it's connected to the other 2. Now, the next movie that is 3 stars and a half is Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this movie, this was my second watch. The first watch, I watched this with my boyfriend at the cinemas. First, and the main reason why I give 3 stars and a half is because this movie is for the fans. And I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, and I will always love this movie, this franchise in general. I grew up with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time. And I love, like, I remember being so shocked in the reveal, and you know which reveal I'm talking about. I don't want to give it spoilers. But like, at the same time, this movie without that plot and without that shocking reveal, wouldn't be a good film, if that makes sense. Like the last two movies from this category, 3 stars and a half, is Scream 2 and Scream 3. Now I'm not gonna talk too much about them because I've made a full review on both films and I've made a full ranking in the Scream franchise. I prefer the Scream 3 obviously. Now when it comes to 4 stars film, the first one is Scream, the first Scream from 1996. Again, I'm not gonna talk too much about it because I made a full review on my channel and I also gave so many talks on my ranking. This movie is iconic, I will always love it. The next film that I watched that is 4 stars is Scream from 2022, the new Scream, and I have to say that I love this movie so much. And I didn't watch it once, I didn't watch it twice, I watched it 3 times. Scream 2022 is a movie that I will always love. It's a movie that I'm so thankful that it exists. This movie is so good, it's iconic. I love the Latin representation, like our main character is Latin, and that's what I like to see in a horror film. I love Tara, I love the opening scene, I love the kills. I kind of like the reveal, like the reveal has been growing on me. I love how they treat the main trio. This movie is iconic, like this movie is for the fans. Wes Craven will be so freaking proud of this film, and I will always be thankful, and I'm so excited Scream 6 is on the making. The next 4 stars film that I watched and that I will rewatch is Halloween Kills. Now, I own this movie, like I recently bought it on Blu-ray with the extended cut, with the alternative ending, and it's iconic. I love this movie so much. And I just want to say that Big Josh and Little Josh, I just love them, and they're one of the main reasons why I rewatched this movie. And yes, I just love this movie so much, and it's one of the best horrors from 2021. Yes, I said it. The next 4 stars film that I watched is Escape Room Tournament of Champions, like the sequel from 2021. Now, I have to say that I always loved this movie. The first time that I watched it in the cinemas, I also gave 4 stars. But this time, I bought the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray has an alternative ending, like a director's cut, if that makes sense. It's insane, like it's a completely different movie. There is an actress and a character that is not in the cinema, in the theatrical version. And I was so shocked because I love this version more than the theatrical one. And now the final category, 4 stars and a half and 5 stars. There are not too many movies, but the first one that I want to talk about in 4 stars and a half is Scream from 2022. Yes, this is the 3rd time that I watched this movie and my ranking went half star higher. So the main reason is because again the reveal grew so much on me that watching it in the 3rd time, I was like, I love this reveal and I love the Godface. I prefer the reveal from Godface number 2 than from Godface number 1. The next 2 movies, 4 stars and a half, are Insidious 1 and Insidious 2. Now, this Insidious 1 will always get me. I told this to my YouTube crew on Instagram. I told them, I don't know why after 12 years since Insidious 1 came out, I'm always get triggered. I always get scared, proper scare. Because this movie works so well. This movie hasn't aged. The jump scares, the scares, they work so well. At least for me. And I know for my boyfriend too, because we watched them together. The last movie that is 4 stars and a half for me is Tenet. From 2020. Now, this movie, I never watched this movie ever until recently. Actually, fun fact, I watched this the first day of the year. It was an amazing experience. I watched it with my boyfriend. We woke up and we decided to watch this movie. It was beautiful. He explained this movie so well to me, and to be honest, this movie is one of the most unique storylines I've seen. And also I love the representation and just the whole your mind will explode while watching this movie. And I would recommend this movie. Just bear in mind that you have to be concentrated the whole time. If you watch your phone for 2 seconds, you will be lost and you will have to start again. And finally, there is only one film in the 5 stars category, and that is, have you guessed it? Yes, Scream 4. Yes, Scream 4 is a 5 stars for me, and it's my favorite Scream of all time. I'm not gonna talk too much about it because I gave a full review on the movie, and obviously I just gave you a spoiler for my ranking. And just before you go, what we're gonna do is we're gonna select the best and the worst from the month. So for me, the best series, because there is no worst series that I watched in January. So for me, the best series between Criminal Minds Season 2 and Slasher Season 2, I would say is Slasher 2, but Criminal Minds 2 is iconic. Now, with the movies. So let's go with the worst one. So the worst film that I watched in January will be Cinderella. Yes, the lower grade, the lower star. Yes, it's 1-star film for me. I don't think I will ever rewatch this. And the best film that I watched this month, even though I love Scream 2022, even though I loved Scream 4, and Scream 4 is a 5 stars for me. For me, the best movie that I watched this month is Tenet. And the main reason is because it blew my mind. So let me know in the comment section below, which films and series have you watched over the month of January? Do you agree with my list? Do you think I should have given lower grade, higher grade to the films that I mentioned? And let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts of Tenet, Scream 2022, or any film that I mentioned? If you have videos where you do wrap up Letterboxd movies like I do, let me know in the comment section below. I will leave all my links in the comment section below. You know what to do. Click, follow, subscribe, share. I will see you soon. Take care of yourself. Have a nice end of the week, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.